Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Jess Hilarious, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. Lauren LaRosa is here as well. We got a special guest in the building. We have comedian Ryan Davis. Welcome, brother.
What's up, man?
Now, Donnell Rawlins is filling in too here. You know, Charlamagne's out, Jess is out, so Donnell is one of our family members, extended family members.
But don't expect me to do no booty drops or none of that type of stuff.
Could be no booty jokes.
Yeah,
but
that
he's
was
here.
crazy.
But how are you feeling, first and foremost?
I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling good.
Your new special, Underrated, is out right now.
Yeah, man.
And it's a story. You put it together. For people that don't know, explain how you started to do this on your own. You shopped it around and you couldn't get a deal.
Nah, I shopped it around. It's funny, too, whenever you, because I mentioned Netflix, immediately when I said, oh, Netflix didn't take it, people go, you know, there's other places. I don't think they understand how shopping around goes. You shop it everywhere. Mm-hmm. You know, I just mentioned Netflix, but it was held for like 5 months, or it was in their hands for like 5 months. And then eventually they said, you know, no, they passed on it. And by that time, you know, Donnell will tell you, man, some material has like shelf life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
But what I want to say, this is what people don't understand, like Robbie Praw is the big exec over at Netflix. And even for years, I've been in his presence. I don't want to make this interview by myself, but we shared the same career paths. And I asked him one time, I said, what do I have to do to give myself a better position for you know what? I know people ask him all the time, what about a Netflix special? And he said, Donnell, you're one of the funniest comics that I know. I respect you, but you have to understand, we tell people no all day. Mm-hmm. And that's what people understand. You see people that on Netflix, but it's a lot of deserving people. But for some reason, it might not have been the time. It might not have been the thing. They might have needed someone from the alphabet community, somebody from the alphabet community that year, whatever. But what I could say, and I had a proud moment, I slipped on your page, when you took matters into your own hand. Mm-hmm. And one of the things and I appreciate about you, a lot of people in this business, they talk shit. They won't put their money where their mouth is, and they won't bet on themselves. So when I saw you, that testimony, and you broke it down, this nigga went analytical.
Yeah.
He had
so what did
pie charts and everything.
No, he had numbers.
You spent how much? Well, how much did you shoot? How much did it take you to shoot
it cost
this?
me about $150 because, you know, when you choose certain venues and then you have to dress the venue, I had to paint the stage. It was several cameras. You know, you got to get the jib. You got to get the everything. Like, I had to pay for everything out of pocket.
So when you go to these places like Netflix and all these other places that said no, which made you decide to do it on your own, do they tell you why no? Or they just like, damn. So you have no clue why.
And they didn't spin the block once you did that breakdown online where you showed those numbers.
No, so many, and that was the thing. It went so crazy because it was shared hundreds of thousands of times. Mm-hmm. So like my DMs were crazy, and there was a lot of people reaching out who have platforms and things of that nature, but I couldn't see it all or even entertain it. Plus, I've already told millions of people where I'm going to put it and what I'm going to do with it, you know, and to the people who were reaching out, you know, with these platforms, you know, I appreciate it, but also at this time, this is a great time to reach out to other comedians because there's a lot of comedians that have my story. Mm-hmm. You know, at this point, you should put out that you're willing to bring comedians to your platform and give them a space to share their art. You know what I mean? That's what I wanted. I wanted, you know, whenever I put it out, to inspire other people to put their money where their mouth is.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
But they're not going to do it. A lot of people talk a lot of shit. And at the end of the day, like, we are in a better position. When I first started, it was only like ABC, CBS, NBC, and the ultimate platform for specials was the HBO.
Right.
It wasn't a million things. So there are avenues, but if you know, in this business, Netflix probably is the most prestigious, the one that people gravitate to the most. Like, this is the platform to say this is one of the greats. Right. And even if you do find another home for it, I know it's something to be said about a Netflix special. I think you deserve it. Interesting to me is Underrated. Why did you choose to name your special Underrated?
I think that is...
And if you're just joining us, Ryan Davis is here. Donnell is filling in for Charlamagne, and Donnell is on his journalist tip.
Period, because he just brought that in real easy.
Real easy.
Yeah, I think Underrated describes kind of what my journey is right now in stand-up. You know what I mean? I think amongst my peers, they know how I get down on stage. But I think the general public, we have gotten to a point where the skill of stand-up isn't really celebrated as much as the popularity of an individual. And I wanted to highlight that when it comes to the stand-up space, you know, I think I'm one of the best out here, like one of the top ones. And I don't want, and whenever I think I'm anytime I'm criticized, it's based off of social media content. Oh, I don't think, you know, he may be this because of I've seen clips of something instead of the actual thing that I do. So that's why I went with underrated.
Let me ask you, is Netflix the goal? And when I mean by that, it's like when you play basketball, the goal is NBA. When you play football, the goal is NFL. You know, when you do something, the goal might be, you know, to own a Ferrari. As a comedian, is the goal Netflix?
I don't think so. I think Netflix put themselves in position with the deals that they did, you know, with Dave and Chris and Kevin when they started handing out $20 million. You know, they had surpassed HBO at that point.
Gotcha.
And then it had been a while since you saw an HBO special, and then that person went on to like incredible success, and that's been the story for a lot of people that, you know, have been on Netflix. So I think Netflix had surpassed, you know, HBO as far as being a launching pad. So that, you know, I think any creative keeps their, you know, ear to the street and eyes on what's going on. So you have somebody like Sebastian Maniscalco, who he wasn't relatively known like that, and he did his Netflix special. Now he does Madison Square Garden. So, you know, you see stuff like that and you don't see it on other platforms. It makes you go, okay, now I see the influence that Netflix has, and I kind of want that launching pad. That's how you think of it. I think that's what made Netflix appear to be the top one.
When you say underrated, is that your observation, or is that the observation from your fans and people that have been following your journey? Who's saying you're underrated, you or is it the people that you want to reach out to?
Nah, I think that's what I've viewed over the years. I don't even think. I think over the years I've seen that people don't even think I'm as successful as I am. I think it's. I think the narrative on me is that I'm still like
trying to figure it out.
That I'm still trying to figure it out, or I'm up and coming. And I've been like,
how successful?
I will say
you?
the first time I ever saw you, I think it was at I think it was at maybe Chocolate Sundays or
we did
Laugh
Chocolate
Factory.
Sundays together.
Yeah, and I was like, because this is the thing, you know my skill set. I come and eat shit up. Right?
Yeah.
Did you come behind me?
I closed. You hosted.
Yeah, and I was, when I left them, I was like, oh, all right, do what you got to do.
Yeah.
Like, what it was. And I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
And like the thing that you didn't get rattled. You know what I mean? You getting rattled. And when I say, even when I watch the clips of your specials, your composure, you know what I'm saying? Your timing, you know, and then when I saw you, first time I saw you, it's so hard to say somebody's original. I was like, this motherfucker's original, his point of view. He's not talking about everything these motherfuckers talking about. And then when I watch you, I say, guess what? This motherfucker can entertain black, white, Asian, or whatever. And that's a point. How do you feel sometimes because you have the crossover ability that people don't connect with your blackness?
Man, you know that. You deal with that.
I'm asking you the question so these people will know.
No, it's true. But to add on what he said, he's right? And the reason I say that is I know you as a comedian, but to me, it doesn't stand out as it should.
Yeah.
He's a little different because he's been coming on the Breakfast Club for years, so we poke at that and we make fun of him. But for you, I didn't see it the same. Almost like a Hannibal Buress, right? Where he's huge, but not in our community, for say. You know what I mean? So how do you deal with that, and how come that is?
But that's why I lead the underrated. And I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to act like that's not bothersome to be underrated amongst the people you feel like you relate to the most.
Black people.
Yeah.
Because I was going to ask you, like, because you said underrated, people look at you like you're still up and coming, like you're not successful. Like, when I was going to ask you how successful you are, but I don't mean for you to, like, name every accolade. I mean, where do you think your level of success ranks, and, like, what is success to you? Because if you can put out $150K real easy for a special.
Right.
A lot of people don't got $150K in cash to just be like, yo, I need to shoot this.
Yeah.
So you're doing something somewhere.
I'm doing all right. So, I'm doing all right. But that's also because of my fans. I went straight to my fans. This Patreon that I'm doing is not new. And, I don't do the whole flashy thing. I'm all about, if my fans believe in me enough to give me money, then I'm going to, in return, give them a product. So the special came from that. Me and my partner Austin Hall, my business partner Austin Hall, we did a movie. With
you know
that.
you succeeded. You're successful when you say my business partner. Of course, you didn't say my nigga. My business partner.
Yeah, like we doing a movie. Even the money that's made from this special is I'm gonna shoot my second one this year. You know, it's all about giving the people. If they're willing to invest in me, then I'm willing to give them the product that they paid for.
Why don't you think you connect to the black community as you should? Like,
I think that the black audience has been trained to gravitate towards certain type of stuff.
Like what?
You know,
In our business, we call it dick and pussy jokes. Continue.
Alrighty.
Wait, for real?
Nah, because I think what happens is we have been trained over the years to do what's the move, like what's the popular thing to do. Like everybody's gonna be there, so I'm gonna go. You know what I mean? Instead of, I don't think a lot of people are willing to stand on, I like this person, so I'll go even if the building is empty. You know, they rather be a part of something bigger. People love to be a part of something. And I think if I don't create that fear of missing out like a lot of people do. You know, I'll sell out a show and I won't show anybody. So the narrative is the thought that I don't sell out shows. And I always thought that was weird. And then I remember seeing comments when I would promote shows. They were like, I don't know, if the shows sell out, then I might have to pull up. And I'm like, why would that be the reason
you pull up? Yeah.
To a show? It's stuff like that always, you know, I think we're always, because we're the coolest, you know, kids, that we're always looking for the coolest people to follow. And comedy ain't about cool. It's about funny. You know, and I think once we get back to that, you know, celebrating the skill and the, you know, the actual talent, then, you know, comedy will be back in a good place. But I really believe this. It's people like yourself, right? I've been doing it longer than you, but it's people like yourself that I really appreciate, and I really believe that sometimes I think, will the art of stand-up fade away? You know what I mean? Because it's so easy to get caught up in, you know, the crowd work comics. It works for them and everything. And you're like, is this going to oversaturate the market, and this is what's going to be the norm? Then it's kind of refreshing when I see people like yourself. I'm like, you know what? There will be people that save this art form. And it's interesting because I've heard underrated come to me. I just really, really believe, Ryan, it's just a timing thing. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think for you, all the things you expect, you're going to get. Okay, maybe not happen this year, but the trajectory on, the discipline you have, the work you have, it's inevitable that everything you think you should get out of it, I think definitely. And I think the people that follow you know that.
I'm going to be honest with you, man. I really didn't have expectations. When I went online to just share my story or whatever, I was like, oh, my fans will see this. But then it ended up getting like 8 million views across platforms. That wasn't what I expected. I was like, yeah, I hope to get my money back.
That's what you want.
Yeah, I want people to see it. I hope to get my money back. But I worked really hard on this project, man. Like, whenever I went to shoot it, my father had been diagnosed with cancer.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
Okay, wait a minute. I have to stop this right now.
Wait a second.
No,
I know because they laugh. I knew he was going to say that.
We don't take you serious, and you know that.
Talking about his father, you ain't even disrespect
Anyway,
him, son.
I remember.
See,
that
I
clip
just tried
kills
to.
him. He was like,
My dad passed away about a year ago, and I had a box of what nigga, you laughing? Hold the fuck up, nigga. What's going on, son?
Isn't that one of the most memorable clips for him?
Yeah,
I told you.
No, but I'm just saying, you didn't laugh. Just an endearing story, son.
Your father was diagnosed with cancer too?
I mean, not that, but it was just an emotional part. He just laughed at me.
Okay, go ahead. So your
I'm
father
sorry.
was diagnosed.
Sorry to hear that.
Yes,
brother.
I'm sorry to hear that.
all right, man, I appreciate your empathy, brother. So and my mom, him and my mom, they had never even been on a plane before. And they got on the plane to go to Chicago for my special.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a huge deal. A lot of, my entire siblings, like all of my siblings, I'm one of 8. Like everybody got out to support it, you know, to see that type of, you know, belief from my family, man, really meant a lot to me. And you know, like I said, the success that I don't talk about, like I bought the house that I was raised in from my parents, and then you know, gave my dad the deed on like Father's Day, and just being able to do that stuff. But I think that stuff isn't necessarily cool.
It is cool.
What?
No.
That's so cool.
It's
That's
cool.
fly as hell.
It is, but it's not what we celebrate as much. It seems like.
I don't
Who you following and who following you?
No. I'm not saying it's not celebrated.
That's what we call generational wealth, and the fact
Yeah,
that you're able to do
fire.
that for your parents. See, I like stuff like that because it encourages more people to do more of that.
Right.
And, you know, the reason I talk about a lot of this stuff, especially when it comes to generational wealth, is a lot of times we like to show success from the car we drive and the jewelry we have and the watches. And I'm guilty of it as well sometimes too. But also I like to make sure that my kids' colleges are paid for.
Yeah.
That my kids start off with, you know, my daughter graduated from college and I was able to buy her a home, her first home. So she starts at zero. You know, the fact that paid for my parents' crib. Those are the fly things to me.
Those are fly.
The Louis Vuitton shirt that you got on is cool, but those are the fly
And
things.
it's
That's what
also
makes me be like, yo, that brother's a good
real.
brother.
Like,
Yeah.
how emotional. I can only imagine. My mom is a stage 4 cancer survivor. So I can only imagine how emotional it was for you having your dad be there. And like, because it's such a, people don't understand unless you've been through a cancer battle of like how it weighs on you and how strenuous it is. But to be able to bring laughter during that time,
Yeah.
I know that had to be emotional for you.
No, it was huge. It was huge. And my father, man, he's super proud. Like I'll never forget that.
How's he doing now?
He's proud black man. He won't tell you. He won't tell you. We never know how this nigga's doing. You know, we're like, hey, can you give us an update? Oh no, everything's cool. So we never know. You just have to gauge how it looks.
Where were you? You said you're one of 8 kids.
Yeah, middle.
Where were you? You're the middle.
Yeah, middle child. I
So
was middle of 7.
So half of them support you, half of them don't fuck with you.
Nah, so
I could have did that.
My family actually didn't know how successful I was.
Really?
Yeah,
When did they find out?
they went like one when they went to the special and saw like I sold out the House of Blues multiple shows, and they were like, "What?" And then
So you really don't F with your siblings then?
no, we get in a group chat every day. We just don't talk about money. We don't talk about none of that matters.
Oh, that changed.
Yeah, nah, it doesn't.
Oh, they changed Christmas time. Like, hey.
No, we've done Secret Santa every year, and they know
Your
whoever.
spending limit's still the same?
Yeah, nah, they know whoever get Ryan is gonna. Yeah, they know what time it is. So, but they didn't like. I did a show at in Virginia Beach. I did a weekend. I sold out the whole weekend, and my older brother was there, and he was like, "Man, all these people here, they probably gonna become fans of yours after this." I was like, they all paid to see me. They already fans.
Damn.
He was like, people come to see you like that? And I was like, bro, and I'm talking about I've been touring like yearly since like 2016. This is like 2023.
But a lot of,
he like
going to Envy's point, a lot of times people don't acknowledge nothing but the flash.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? It's
that's what I'm
that's it.
talking about. It's not that people don't appreciate substance, they do, but the audience that appreciates substance, I think, is a much smaller group than, and I think it's by design. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that, you know, something is wrong with our people. It's just people love, like when I grew up, MTV Cribs was a thing.
Right.
For a reason. Before that, Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous was
yeah.
a thing for a reason. People want to attach themselves to maybe a life they can't see. And if you look regular to people, they don't gravitate to it as much. I think that's probably the better way to put it.
Well, I think that's relevant in our community. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And it is different. There's a difference, man. But like I say, to be able to pull an audience, the black side and the white side, and don't lose anything. Like some people, when they do this shit, like you like, oh, when he's in front of a white audience, he's this way. When he's in front of a black audience, he's that way. But Ryan has the ability, like, it doesn't matter. You don't see, I know it sounds crazy, I'm saying the same thing. You don't see color. You just see a person, there's a storyteller, that's got the wit, hitting you with some stuff. It's just a totally different vibe.
Mm-hmm.
And it's intentional. I'm going to be honest with you, man. I didn't even know before I went to Canada to do a run of shows. I didn't know my perspective was so black, like African-American black, until I went to Canada and ain't no niggas there.
Mm-hmm.
There's black people there, but we ain't there. And my perspective was so Black American, I was losing the audience. And I was like, I didn't realize that my perspective was so limited. So I started to work on broadening my perspective because I don't want to leave anybody. Like if you can't follow the joke, I want it to be because you stupid, not because I left you out culturally.
All that comes with experience. Like me coming from D.C., I had a very, very, very strong Southern accent, and I had to work on.
D.C. ain't in the South.
We call that country. From D.C. to New York, I sound the country as a motherfucker.
Yeah, now you do, yeah.
And I had to work on my diction because I got tired of motherfuckers saying, "What did you just say?" So I had to work on that, you know. So how important you think that is for you to be able to connect all across the board?
It's really important. I think I have like control issues. I want to be understood. If you don't laugh at something I say because you think it's not funny, I can deal with that. But if I feel like I didn't communicate it correctly, then that's gonna bother me, and then I wanna fix that. Like I don't know. That's a thing in my personal life too.
Do you remember your worst show? You ever got booed? Like you remember your worst show?
I've never been booed. I'll always remember my worst show though.
What was your worst show?
I invited a crush of mine to the show. She sat front row, and I bombed right in front of her. And
damn.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen her since.
You haven't seen her since? How long ago was this?
It wasn't that long ago, like 10 years.
Damn.
Who was it? Like sometimes
the girl?
No. My brain is somewhere else. I always ask this question when someone thinks about doing comedy. Who was it? Was it somebody in your family or life that said, you have to do it? Stop making me laugh. You got to do it.
No, because my humor is a little different, and I love the art of comedy. Being funny in a space versus being funny on stage is two different skill sets.
Right.
There's so much thoughtfulness to being funny on stage.
He don't understand that.
Because
you so disrespectful.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't interrupt, but go ahead.
Yeah. He don't get it. He be trying to throw anything at anybody on stage.
I think, whenever you're in a space with many people, a conversation is usually already happening. So the connection is already there. So whatever you're going to say in that moment is relevant to the conversation.
Right.
When you're on stage, you're creating the conversation and the relevancy, and it's your job to communicate it in a way that makes them laugh.
Right.
So the idea of just being funny in your day-to-day, and that's going to carry over, everybody, that's a gift very few have. Donnell is funny like that. Carlos Miller is funny like that. But there's not a lot of people who are so funny that it can translate like that. I've seen Donnell walk into the audience.
They need that connection.
Yeah, he forced the connection upon you.
Right.
Yo, you don't understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Yo, and then it's insane.
But let me ask you, with so many comedians supporting you, right? If you listen, I heard Kevin Hart and Charlamagne do the interview, and I've heard Kevin support you, I guess, verbally. Do you feel like there should be more support with comedians where they actually help because they have other opportunities? Because, we all see what's going on with Netflix and some of those other things.
Yeah.
What's your
But they
opinion on
do. They do. I think the conversations aren't had a lot, but Dave Chappelle, whenever I put it out or whatever, he texts me. He's told me before, if I need anything, I can reach out. When 50 was opening, he did the big show down in Louisiana, Shreveport. I was like literally in Dave's green room, and he told 50, if you're working on something comedy or whatever, this is one of the better comedy writers of today. You need to book him to do something. Those things do happen.
Have you written on shows?
No. So whenever a time came for me to write on a show, Aaron Magruder actually had reached out because they were working on something, and I was like, man, the opportunity to work with the creator of Boondocks would have been crazy, but it got shelved, so I didn't get the opportunity. But yeah,
so
man.
Comedians are reaching out.
So with my special, I got it as a one-time buy because Patreon is subscription based, and I don't want nobody to feel obligated to stay. But the people who get the subscription, you also get my talk show / podcast is coming. Kevin Hart's going to be on that. Wow. Charlamagne's going to be on that. Jill Scott, Method Man. There's a lot of support from entertainers, and they agreed to this before that video even came out. You know what I mean? And within the industry, there's always a lot of support and people, but a lot of us artists aren't decision makers. So they're like, what can I do to, you know what I mean? They can use their popularity and their platform to draw more attention to you, but at the end of the day, it's still on the decision makers to make that decision. Gotcha. And I'm like, well, the decision makers didn't pick me, but the people did. So I'll put my own money up to give the people what they've been asking for.
And you know what? With that attitude, it's a slower grind, but it's still a grind. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's easy for you to be like this, I'm going to do this, it's going to blow up. But I think the path that you're doing, how you're doing, building relationships with some of the top people, being respected and being funny. Like I say, the success, whatever success it's already, my opinion, it's already mapped out. It's going to happen. You just got to stay the course, and everything's going to fall into place.
Yeah, I think, you know what story?
Because I don't laugh at I'm telling you, son. It's so hard for me to laugh at a motherfucker, and I didn't want to laugh, right? I'm like, but it was just like, it was just, seeing you perform, it was a breath of fresh air, man. Especially from seeing so much garbage. And like, right now, the biggest thing now, and I'm not knocking anybody doing the crowd work, but I remember when I first started, that wasn't respected. Yeah. That side of comedy, it was like, I did 45 minutes. Yeah, but you did 30 minutes worth of crowd work. Yeah. But now it's a different thing. And it's hard. It's so refreshing to see somebody like yourself, because it's easy. You can't tell these younger guys that have the following. You can't tell them to work on their craft, because it used to be, if you wanted pussy, if you wanted money off of this, guess what you had to do? You had to be good.
You had to be good.
Now you don't got to be good. They getting the
popular.
Money. They getting the accolades. They're getting the money before they good. And it's hard to tell a motherfucker, you should work on this. We was like, I just made $300,000 on Instagram.
Yeah.
They don't have that. They don't have the thing to make them want to be better.
And I didn't want to fall into that. Like, I even monetized my social media late. I remember a lot of people were like, you're not monetizing, you're just missing out on money. I was like, I don't want that to be my motivation.
Until you got that first check, you be like, is this easy?
Nah, yeah. When the money that come from social media is dumb. It's really dumb. But I didn't want that to be. I want it to be one of the best. And I'm going to tell you the story that bothers me so much is the Bernie Mac story. Why he doesn't have that hour special, because he was at a time where you had to be picked.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't pick him, even though he was so popular amongst us that he would sell out theaters. Mm-hmm. And that other comedians, like when you can look at Def Comedy Jam, Comic View, Bad Boys of Comedy, comedians are doing impressions of Denzel Washington and Bernie Mac. Denzel Washington was our biggest star. Mm-hmm. And the other recognizable voice within our community that people wanted to do the most was Bernie Mac. Mm-hmm. And he still wasn't picked. It took him dominating on Kings of Comedy, which he wasn't considered the guy, industry-wise, before he really got. And I wish that he had the opportunity to self-produce, because that one stand-up is really all most people have. And
but his path, I'm not exactly the same, but it's some similarities. Like, even with the testimony you did was like this. Okay, how come? What he did was, eventually, he showed him the numbers.
Yeah.
He showed him the numbers. This is this. This is this. How does that translate? And somebody finally, they got, I forgot who the showrunner. He finally connected with the right crew, and then they saw it. And he basically was like this. This is what I've been trying to tell you, motherfuckers.
Yeah.
But I think he feels like, correct me if I'm wrong, all of that fight shouldn't have happened, because from the minute that he hit the mic, we knew he was the guy. And you actually had a quote. I wanted to ask you if you still felt this way. You said fame hasn't cared about talent for a while now. And I don't, but this is the funny part. They moved the goalposts.
What you mean?
They moved the goalposts. Fame hasn't cared about talent for a while. So, but now they don't even give opportunities to the famous. Mm-hmm. So it's like, what do you do? Like, you can be really, what are they looking for? Are they searching for anything? Because you can go, I'm really skilled, I'm really talented, or you get, nah, we're not giving it to that right now. And it was like, this person has a bigger follower than you, we'll give it to you. Well, this person has a bigger follower than them. Yeah, we're not doing followings right now. It's like, what is the criteria? I'll do the work necessary to let me know where I think that's one of the most difficult things just for us within this space is if you set a criteria, we'll hit it. But when there's no criteria, now you have us like waiting on you to make a decision on us. And once I realized that, I was like, I'm not waiting on nobody no more.
And what happened with you and Kevin Durant? Why Kevin Durant got upset with you?
Oh, Kevin Durant. So Kevin Durant loves to go back and forth with people on social media. And, we had a difference of opinion. And I'm cool with difference of opinion.
What was the difference of opinion on?
He said offense wins championships, which is not a saying, has never been a saying in any sport.
No, it's usually defense wins
championships. And that's what we disagreed. And then he called me a trash comedian. And that's when I knew he wasn't familiar with my work.
Now, this is what I'm talking about. It's certain words that's the N-word in comedy.
Yeah.
It's like, it's hard to go back.
He could have said anything.
Corny, whack, those are fighting words in the world of comedy.
Then you roasted him.
Man.
Trash is horrible.
Trash is trash? Trash. That's how my whole day went. Like if you people now, they set up their tripod and you see they show with how they do their day.
Yeah.
If I had done that, all you would have saw is me like sitting at a table, trash. This nigga call me trash.
Well,
but not only
everywhere I'm going,
in the car. But you're not funny.
But that's where
I said. But if you know you funny though, it's like
but that's why I think he didn't know. That's why.
You felt like he didn't know. So you had to.
Yeah, I had to show him. I was like, he don't know.
And I was like,
let me show you something.
I'm just saying.
I like to let me show you something tight. I like that.
But the thing is, like y'all asked me about that. Why do you take it so personal? It is the trigger. Trash, corny, and whack. When Kramer went off at the Laugh Factory that year, and he just was flowing like,
the N-word?
Yeah.
You know what triggered him? Somebody yelled out, "You ain't funny." That's like, what the fuck are you talking about? And especially when you know you're not trash.
Why are comedians so sensitive? Like,
it's not comedians. Let me tell you something. Y'all ignore when everybody else is. You got to remember, Erykah Badu said it best. Keep in mind, I'm an artist, and I'm sensitive about my shit.
But y'all throw out so many shots, though. So I feel like y'all are removed from sensitivities at a certain point.
First off, I'm not even.
I don't feel like I was sensitive in that moment. I kept it basketball. I talked about basketball. And then he said I was a trash comedian. He said that. He made it personal. I kept it basketball. But I was like, since we want to get personal.
You want to be funny.
You want to step into my arena. Let's see how you fare. I can't beat you in basketball, but I promise you, I'm way better at this than you are.
Envy, like you said, well, you put it in one. Certain comics aren't like you like. Y'all fuck with everybody. Like your style.
Yeah.
He's not a style of comic that's going to be like trying to roast.
Yeah, I don't roast like
certain
that.
People
it's all
are not like that.
For me.
You got Michael Blackson, perfect example. Michael Blackson, and I love him. He's a provocateur. He's going to push the button. He's going to cross that line. But it's like a person like Ryan, person like myself, that don't cross the line. When people come at them like that, it is. I know it's easy for y'all to say, why y'all take person? Because this is our shit, man.
Yeah, and this is the crazy part. When they say people take shots, Michael Blackson is a good example. Michael Blackson is roasting you with love. I can run into him in the airport. He's like, "What you doing in here, you ugly nigga?" Right. And then be like, "Yo, we about to go to Ghana in a couple months. You know what I mean? Let me know if you're available. I'm going to fly you out. I'm going to show you some stuff where I come from. I'm like in Africa. You know what I mean? That ain't somebody who hates you. He just loves
Shout out to Mike Blackson.
Yeah.
I had him on my podcast, and it's so funny. A lot of people don't know like what he did in regard to his village during that school. And I was like, wow, I know you look at him and he talks trash. But I'm like, why isn't this being celebrated? And a lot of people, when I posted, a lot of people didn't even know about it.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. I think people just look at, because I know what you're talking about, but like when y'all are, like we look to you guys for relief a little bit.
Yeah.
And I know there was a sit down that you did where you talked about how comedy, especially Black comedy, is kind of like the relief for a lot of like traumas and different things. And when I watched that, I was like, okay, I kind of get what he's saying. And maybe that's why I don't see, like for me, I look at you as like, okay, you're the funny guy. So when you're being upset about something, it's like, why are you upset? You the funny guy. Or when you're responding, it's like, no, you the funny guy, just be funny. But it's like, you're our relief. So it's like, it's hard for us to see y'all as anything but that sometimes.
And that's messed up that y'all don't see us as people.
Smokey Robinson, people say I'm the life of the party because I tell a joke or two. But take a good look at my face and you see I'm frowning. We, as comics, as much as someone going to the show is therapeutic for them, it's therapeutic for us. And the best comics are the ones that whatever they're dealing with in life, they know how to go on stage and talk about things that are troubling them.
Right. On my special, I talk about my relationship. I have a fractured relationship with my mother. I talk about that. I talk about
that must have been difficult to do that in front of her.
Oh, what? Like she had something to say, but she was there. She supported. So I always love her for that.
What does fractured relationship mean?
Whenever, especially in our community, the woman, the matriarch of the family, you know, she can do no wrong at times. And then she does do wrong, you got to have that grace. You don't ever disconnect from your mother. And I made the decision not to really speak to my mother for several years.
Wow.
Oh, that's tough.
Yeah. And I talk about that in the set. You know what I mean? The mother of my children almost died, you know, carrying our children. I talk about that. I talk about, that's what I'm saying. I turn those things into levity. I talk about race. I talk about political correctness. I talk about relationships. I talk about everything because there aren't spaces for that. I talk about suicide. I talk about, and I think people don't realize, because if you don't go to my shows, you don't know. There have been many Black men who walk up to me and go, you know, I have a kind of a fractured relationship with my mother, and there's no space for us. Nobody's talking about what it is to be a Black man in that space, to look at the woman who created you and not feel the connection. That's the person we want to love us the most. You know, the people who don't feel that love, where do they go for levity? And that's what I try to provide.
But do you give her grace, right?
I give her grace.
Okay. And the reason I say that is you know, we came up in an era where, you know, especially Black families, it was mind your business, a kid stay in a kid's place.
Yeah.
And they didn't show emotion. They didn't talk about their bills. They didn't talk about none of that. You had to figure it out when you figured it out.
Right.
So you have to give her that. Like my kids are differently. Like they know everything that's going on. They know when daddy got a bad day, daddy having a good day. They know when daddy get a big check, when daddy ain't got no check. They know everything because we're more, I would think we're younger parents and we're more relatable. So as long as you're giving your mom.
No, I had to give her grace because my mom's super young. My mom had me as a teenager and I wasn't even her first child. So, you know, understanding I had my first child at 26 and I wasn't ready. So having my third one at like 17, you know, I couldn't even imagine what, you know, she never had a chance to become an adult before she started raising children of her own.
Was your mother trafficked?
No, she was married.
Okay. No, the only reason I said that, I was on stage the other day, and through the stage, I realized that my father trafficked my mother.
What?
What is happening?
That's another story. I'm so sorry.
What did
you want to talk about it?
Yes.
Mom, sorry, put your business out there.
Yeah, like, nah, whenever.
Not
like,
your mom got trafficked, Punani. Tell us about it.
No, this is your show. So.
No.
But your mother had 3 children by the age of 17?
4 by 19.
Wow.
4 by 19.
Yeah. So.
Was your father a lot older? Was it?
He's older. Yeah, he's older. I talk about that in the special.
What was that dynamic like for you, though? Just because, I mean, the relationship ended up fractured, but like coming up and your mom is growing up with you with 4 other kids.
It's almost like that was your sister. It wasn't really
Yeah,
like your mom.
Nah, because you see her as mom. That's mom. Because we weren't raised like we weren't raised by grandma. Like my parents were married. They raised us together. It wasn't until you get to become an adult. Like I'm 38. My mom was 38 when I was 21.
That's crazy.
And I had older siblings.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. That's when I started to see how young she was. Before it was always, that's my mom.
So you can walk in the club and actually see your mom in the club.
Yeah, listen.
Did that happen?
No,
Okay.
she wasn't much of a clubber.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but my mom is, And I deal with, it's so funny because now, because I didn't deal with the stuff that she dealt with, it's like I'm more mature than her now because she never got a chance to mature.
Right.
She had to be that
Mom.
14-year-old girl and then turn mom and then never really got the chance to grow herself because she had to focus on everybody else. And at times now I feel like I'm older than her.
When she came and saw you, was that her first time hearing the jokes about y'all relationship?
Yeah. Yeah, but I've talked about our relationship on podcasts, and I never said what exactly it was or whatever she did because it was, that's between us. But the thing is, she won't admit to it. And there will be people who watch this who know what I'm talking about. When you confront your parents about what it is or what trauma they brought to you or what they did, and it's not that you're saying you're a bad parent. This is my experience of you. And then the first thing they'll say is, oh, so I was the worst parent ever. No, I wouldn't be here if you were a bad parent. I wouldn't purchase the home and give you that, if I thought you were a bad parent. I wouldn't praise you the way I do if you were a bad parent. This is where I feel like something went wrong in my development. And I just want you to see what's happening to me. I'm coming to you because I'm trusting you. This is still me being vulnerable with you. They can't register it like that.
They think you're taking a shot.
Do you
They
have
think I'm
daughters,
taking a
Ryan?
shot. I have a daughter.
How does that affect the relationship that you had? Did you have with your mother? How's that affect the relationship and you raising your daughter?
So I have a 10-year-old daughter, 7-year-old son. So what I realized is because my parents wasn't affectionate and I felt like I turned out okay, that there was no need to give my children that kind of affection. I didn't deem affection necessary.
Well, you know what? In the Korean culture, because I was stationed there, that's Korean fathers, they have no emotional connection with their kid. Their only responsibility is to provide and protect. All of that, I love you and everything. Korean fathers are the toughest fathers to have, period.
Yeah, and I was really like that. My son, he's very affectionate. He's very sensitive and things like that. And I would just be like, toughen up, blah, 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 blah. But I'm like, he's going to the person he believes will protect him, and he trusting with these emotions, and I'm sitting here going, get over it. I ain't even realizing what I'm doing to him. I'm drawing a line of disconnecting with him. He doesn't feel safe around me now.
Is that because of the relationship you have with your father? Is that passed on through generations?
Man, my dad. Oh my God! If you have older parents, your parents still here, you might have seen this from your father.
My father's dead, Envy.
Yeah, oh man, I'm sorry to hear that.
Oh,
yeah. Dad, I love you. See you when I get back to Charlotte. So my dad.
Oh, y'all flexing, got your fathers all in your life.
Nah, it's not a flex, man.
It is.
It's a good flex.
Nah,
It's not. To my pops, I love you, Dad.
Yeah, it's not a flex. So
I'm happy for
you ain't hear
y'all.
this one say it either. You ain't hear this one say it either.
Well, I mean, my dad halfway in, halfway out. It depends on the day.
Yeah.
You he alive.
Yeah. See?
Stop rubbing it in.
So my dad, he wasn't very affectionate, and you get older and you realize, I remember how my grandmother was, and I was like, oh, he probably didn't get a whole lot of affection either. But my dad is super affectionate now. He says, I love you all the time. He calls to see how you doing. He cares and all that stuff. He a completely different nigga than the nigga I grew up with. Yep. And that took a while for me to get used to. Like, he would go, he would say, I love you over the phone. I'd be like, everything okay?
Right.
We good?
You
need something to tell?
I never heard my father say that.
Yeah. Man. Yeah.
My father, I used to be like, I love you. He'd be like, gone.
Yeah. My dad he didn't do it like that. But now I'm so, like, I kiss my son and my daughter every time I see him, hug them every time. We can't get off. We gotta exchange our love yous, or it's not. So it's up to you to change it. It's up to you to recognize these things, because your parents did the best they could. Right. Whether you believe it or not, even if you like, well, they could have done better. Well, they couldn't see. How many of us actually see the things that we do that we're messing up? Somebody has to tell you, usually. Somebody has to tell you how they're experiencing you. You don't get to tell people how they should experience you.
Absolutely.
How do you want your kids to see you?
Oh, I want my kids, I want my kids to respect me, and I want my kids to be proud. And they're not. They're not proud of me.
You got to do animation.
Yeah.
Yo, I'm telling you, I don't know. Once you voice something,
Not yet.
Yeah.
anytime.
But you know when they'll say they'll be proud? They'll be proud in the next couple of years, right? And I'm gonna tell you why. Similar to you, my kids, they hear me on the radio, but they don't know what it is.
They don't know what it is.
When people take pictures, they like, that's just dad. Still not popping to them. But when they see me on TikTok,
So
I'm the man. You dad, I seen you on TikTok.
Especially if you hit the For You page.
Yes, but it be with other people though. I seen you with Drewski. I be like, you didn't see me though. But like when they see me on TikTok, I'm the man.
Yo, when Kevin Hart was on here and he said my name, I showed my son, and he said, "Why does he know you?"
Oh,
I was like, he was like, but he said Casanat. Casanat is cool. I was like, and like when I had done TV, movies and stuff like that, I'll put it on the TV screen. It didn't mean nothing to them. They saw I had a large following on YouTube. They were like, oh, my dad is really somebody. He on YouTube with a lot of followers.
It was Soul for me when I did the character on Soul. My son was like, because the characters made it to, and that's how he got to get McDonald's Happy Meals every week, because that was the toy thing. He was like, my dad was in Soul. And I remember when the Happy Meal discontinued, he said, Dad, I got a Happy Meal today, and I wasn't really happy.
You're not happy no more. That was
He's like, you're not there no more. And then that's when he went back to not fucking with me.
Yeah.
before y'all get out of here, I'm changing gears real quick because I really want to hear y'all opinion on this. So I was just, this is breaking right now. Not breaking, but a lot of outlets are picking this up right now. Eddie Murphy, he's a part of the No Call Sheet document, or number 1 on No Call Sheet documentary, and he talks about Sidney Poitier telling him to not do dramatic roles in movies and to leave that up to like the Denzels and things of that nature. I just want to hear how y'all feel about that. Just hearing it, and I can give y'all more context.
Well,
if
my
y'all
personal
need it.
opinion on it: if someone tells me what I can't do or shouldn't do, that's gonna put the pack on me to want to do it. And especially, I understand Sidney Poitier's thing on that. But you never know, like, how Eddie wanted to start. You know what I mean? Comedy might have been a thing that he connected with, but at the same time, he might have been wanting to be considered a more dramatic actor, opposed to like a comedic actor.
What you think, Ryan?
I think if he takes that advice, we don't get Jimmy Early from Dreamgirls, and what a shame that would have been.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Like, you can respect the greatest who ever do it, but just because they're one of the greatest to ever do it doesn't mean that they won't set limitations on you, and it's on you to not listen to those limitations. Thank God Eddie Murphy didn't listen to that. You know what I mean? That's my first thought is, and Eddie Murphy to me is the greatest talent to ever live. I've never seen anybody more talented than that.
In all facets, too.
That's what I'm saying. I've never
Beverly
seen
Hills
anybody.
Cop.
He
Coming
said
to America.
He said he
And he
turned
plays the
down.
guitar.
They were putting together a Malcolm X
He plays
movie,
guitar.
and he turned it down because he had basically been in conversation for it, and he was talking to Sidney and was like, "Hey, what do you think about this?" And after that advice, he was like, "Probably won't do it."
Yep. And that's sad. But I think when people try to set limitations on you, they're thinking about their own. As great as Sidney Poitier is, he probably thought that there were. You can't imagine. I don't think people can imagine a person like Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy is unimaginably talented. He's literally a parrot. He can mimic anybody's voice. He can mimic people's singing voice. But then he's talented within his own right. Like, his stand-up is magnificent. His movies are blockbusters. Saturday Night Live, he showed you I can dominate sketch comedy and do that. Animation, he's Mushu in Mulan. He's Donkey in Shrek. There's no avenue that he has not dominated. He has hit records.
Right.
Like, yeah, I understand telling somebody to be, realistic. I guess that's what, maybe Sidney Poitier was thinking. But Eddie Murphy doesn't fall into that. Neither does Jamie Foxx. I don't think a guy like DC Young Fly falls into that category. It's some people in this world who are just so multifaceted and multi-talented that you actually limit the gift they could have given to the world when you tell them to stay in their lane.
Got you.
He said that Sidney said to him, "You're a breath of fresh air, and don't F with that."
Yeah.
And then also, that's a matter of opinion too. And I don't think that you have to subscribe to that. It's a matter of opinion.
Yeah. No, I think it was done, and I think he was looking out for him. I don't think people realize how close you are from a bad movie from being forgotten, or a bad performance from being forgotten. It happens. You know, I think also you got to think about in Sydney's time, he couldn't take a risk on a role, and because if it didn't happen, it wasn't a space for him to come back
like
from
Sydney
that.
did an open mic and bombed, right? He got booed. Damn.
Yeah. So you gotta, but I don't think like even Kevin Hart came up here and said the exact opposite. You know, when he was talking to my generation of comics, he was like, "Don't make your main thing your only thing."
Right.
You know. So I just think that's the evolution.
That resonated with that part resonated with me. That was like loud and clear.
That was clear. I
was
texted
like
him
this.
after that. I was
huh.
like, "Thank you for that." That
was something that so many people, and there's so many different lanes and so many other avenues that you can do. I remember when they used to do the mixtape awards.
Yep.
I remember, and you know those crowds used to be rowdy as hell. And run DMC, he run it. I mean, those mixtape awards, they'd be like, "Yo, fuck you, get out of here." I never seen nobody. When he went on stage, he commanded that audience. They got completely quiet. Then he was talking about hip hop, and he was like, "Hip hop is not just about being an MC. Hip hop is creating fashion. You have hip hop lawyers there. They don't just limit it to
just music, and
just
rapping.
the MC that's
DJ.
behind the scenes." And I remember one time it was a quote from Method Man. Method Man said, "I'm tired of being a chump in the front. I want to be the Mack in the back." And when Kevin said that, it kind of, all of those things resonated on what you can do in this business.
And I hope whenever, you know, me putting my money behind my own projects, and I will do that for the rest of my career, whether anybody chooses me or not, I'm going to always work toward my passion, and I'm not going to let anybody slam the door on my dreams. But I want to inspire my peers to do the same, not just do the same in their own career, but come do it with me. That's right. Let's go make some stuff together. You got something you passionate about, let's put our money together and let's get it done. Let's just get it done. You know,
easier in our community, easier said than done.
I'm gonna tell you why it's easier said than done in our community. Black people love credit. They love credit. Like you said, Method Man said he want to be the Mack in the back. Not a lot of us want to be the Mack in the back. Right. Like me, if I did a movie about my life story, people would expect me to play myself.
Right.
What if there's a better actor than me for this role?
Right.
I'll move out the way. A lot of us won't move out of the way because we want credit. We rather our face be on the front of it than giving people the best product possible. And that comes from, I believe, just we go through life in our community without getting the credit we deserve. So whenever we get the opportunity to get it, we want all of it. And we can't move like that whenever we're wanting to be creative. So I just hope that this inspires people to go look for.
And it definitely will.
Yeah, go look at the audience. Go look for people because when you think about it, some of the most popular people don't even do stand-up. The people you deal to play. Mm-hmm. If you really want to enjoy stand-up comedy, there are people. Ali Sadiq is killing it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You know, you got people like Naeem Lynn. You got me. Mm-hmm. You know, even
all those people been up here, by the way.
Yeah, mm-hmm. And you just gotta go search it because they're not like in music. They used to have artist development. We just don't have that no more. So it's up to the audience to go find us.
Well, where can they find you? Where can they find your comedy special, Underrated, if they want to see it, pay for it?
You can go to my Instagram, right? But you go to Patreon, type in Ryan Davis, it'll come up. Mm-hmm. Just go to Patreon, type in Ryan Davis, it'll come up.
And if you want to see him live, he's performing at the Gramercy Theater on April 12th.
Here in New York.
That's right. And we appreciate you for joining us. And thank you, Donnell, for sitting through. Donnell's actually going to be at the City Winery this weekend. So I appreciate both of you brothers, man. Thank you. And thank you for Donnell for staying because Charlamagne and Jess were out today.
Yeah, you providing substance.
Yeah, but can I add one thing? Because I don't even think Donnell even remembers, but when we did the Laugh Factory, he was hosting. I wanted to close. Shout out to Lonnie. Lonnie is a tough judge of comedy.
Oh my God, we had so many beefs back in the day, but we good now.
Yeah, she loves you, and that was the thing. She was like, "I need somebody to close." I was like, "I can close." She was like, "I don't know about that." And then I was like, "Nah, let me do it." And then I got there, and Donnell was hosting. I was like, oh, that's probably why she didn't. So, but the show, it was like me, Donnell, Miss Pat, J.J. Williamson, Sean Jones. It was like they were bringing it. And then I did the first show, and the second show, when Donnell brought me up, he said, there's some people in this game that people don't know. They're like, you don't know who they are one day, and then the next day they're one of the biggest comedians. I think this guy might be one of them.
Wow.
You probably don't even remember, but that's how he brought me up. And I was like, all right, I proved to Donnell that I'm supposed to be.
I'm telling you, it was like for me because it's, again.
What year was that?
Maybe 2-3 years ago. Not too long ago.
That stuck with you.
Yeah, that's stuck with me.
because I'd like, it's whatever people want to say, I know talent when I see it, right? And that room, I mean, the thing that impressed me the most, people could go up there and they could have a good set, but it's the way he did it, the subject matter, and you could tell it was somebody that didn't do the easy route. It's like, this is who I am, and the level of confidence, I was like, that's a bad motherfucker. And I've seen people, they go into these spots and they feel like they got to perform a certain way. They've seen this guy do that works for him. But the shit was so original. That's why when you say underrated, I'm like, well, who's rating you?
Well, they don't know. Right. That's what I'm saying. They want me being underrated speaks to if I was rated properly, they would talk like you talk.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, definitely go check it out for yourself so you can see the brother Ryan Davis. And again, thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me, man.
Donnell, thank you, brother.
Yes, sir.
And you see, Donnell, we ain't make no booty jokes today. Nothing.
We left the
Felt
hole
uncomfortable.
alone.
See, they felt uncomfortable.
Damn, I missed the booty joke. No.
Never mind.
All right.
Don't interrupt me.
It's Ryan Davis. It's The Breakfast Club. Good morning. Thank you, Donnell.
Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.